that Dr. Murray allegedly was using not the improper CPR technique. What do you know about that?
This was stunning because he is a cardiologist. So he deals with the heart. I mean, that's his area of expertise. What we know is that a couple of things. First of all, he was performing CPR at least at one point with just one hand. He was literally just with his left hand sort of pushing on his chest like this. And he was also doing it while Michael Jackson was still in a soft bed. And for anybody who's taken even basic CPR training, those are two, major mistakes. First of all, you have to really be using both hands, pushing down on the chest, really getting adequate compressions. And the second is you can't do that on a soft surface because you're never going to establish those adequate compressions. What the defense is arguing, just to that point, is they're saying, of course, Dr. Murray knows how to do CPR, but he realized when he came back in the room that Michael Jackson was no longer alive. So he realized that anything he did was just a futile attempt. So he was going through the motions, but not expecting it to have any impact.
This is something else that I had read from the treating emergency department physician, was that Dr. Murray asked EMS and everyone to go above and beyond and to continue resuscitative measures even though it seemed futile.
Obviously, it's very difficult to figure out what was going on in his mind exactly. Why at one point did he essentially seem like he gave up and did not, call 911 quickly, was not performing adequate CPR, and on the other hand, he really pushed the paramedics not to pronounce Michael Jackson dead at his home. And then even when he got to the hospital, Travis, it was amazing. There was a remarkable sort of effort by the ER doctors over there, including putting in an aortic balloon pump, which, as you know, is something that essentially simulates what the heart should be doing, trying to pump blood to the rest of the body. Dr. Murray was really, really encouraging them to be aggressive at that point, but none of it worked, and the ER doctors who are testifying said, look, we really didn't believe any of it could work because of the state that Michael Jackson was in when they first saw him.
What is just so interesting is the facts of this case come to light. The medicine side of this
As the
is
facts of the case
confounding
come to light,
and
the medicine side of the
shocking.
case becomes confounding.
None of this makes
Not
sense
only
to me.
confounding, but
My
shocking.
impression is that
So
this
none of it makes
doctor,
sense
he
to
was
me.
being paid a large amount of money,
$150,000 a month.
month. That's what, over $1.5 million a year. And he was over his head. He was trying to do things that he just didn't have the training to do.
Sanjay, any final thoughts?
Well, one of the things that comes up a lot, and people have been asking about, is the relationship between doctors and celebrity patients. And one of the things you hear in this testimony is how much
The
Michael Jackson
relationship
sort of
between
influencing
doctors and
Dr.
celebrity
Murray's decisions,
patients
pushing him to
should
do
it
certain
really
things.
actually
I think as
go
doctors,
on,
we
because
always
look
say
what
that we
it did
treat all
in this
patients
case.
the same. No
Michael
matter
Jackson
their
died,
status, no
the
matter
doctor
how much
wasn't
money they're
qualified
paying
enough,
or
but he was
paid
getting
or
paid
any of
so
that sort of
much.
stuff.
Did
But you
he
do wonder
flub
over the years,
something up?
Michael Jackson seemed to
Did he
have
go
had a
against
whole
his
list
own
of
ethical
doctors
values?
who
Should doctors do
seems
that?
gave him
No.
these types of medications.
So when they're
And what
being
is interesting, and this is where
privately paid,
being
you might
someone
say,
well-known
uh-oh.
can actually be adversely impact your health care. I mean, he was getting probably terrible health care as a result. But propofol, as an example, as you said, Travis, that's not a medication for sleep. In fact, it puts you into your brain essentially into a state where it's under general anesthesia. That is not the same as sleep. It is not restorative. You don't wake up from that feeling refreshed, and it's probably part of the reason why he was tired all the time. He thought he was getting sleep, but he wasn't. He used to call for this by name. He said, I want my milk tonight, because it looks like that milk substance that Dr. Orden was holding up, but it wasn't doing what he hoped it would be doing for him, ever.
Well, in the end, it certainly is a tragic scenario, regardless of what all the facts are. Sanjay, thanks so much for joining us today and giving us your thoughts. We hope to see you on the show again soon.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Anytime.
I don't spend a lot of time watching all the theatrics on television, but I can tell you I am just floored by some of the facts of this case. And I think the lesson here is, if you can afford it, don't pay $150,000 a month for a personal physician, because you could influence their behavior.
Yeah.
If you're paying someone that much money and you say, give me my...
They're not going to say no.
Right.
In an idealistic world, none of those doctors should have, no matter how much money he said he would give them, should have done something that was going to eventually be harmful to them.
And it gets more bizarre every day.
Yeah, it does.
Well, Coming up, it's the deadliest outbreak in recent history. What you need to know. Stay with us.
Coming up. This morning, officials say at least 13 people have now died of listeria.
This is a bacteria that can live for a long time, so unfortunately, the CDC does expect the death toll potentially to continue to rise.
Death tolls can rise from
And later,
not only viruses, but
You'll get this
also
severe
outbreaks.
bloodshot appearance. And there
What is
have been some
listeria?
people who
What
come
is
into the
listeria?
emergency department
What is the
terrified
state?
Because it can look really scary.